New car, $1,510. In 1950, that wasn't a down payment or a lease fee, it was the entire price of a brand new Chevrolet Styleline or a Ford Deluxe. You walked onto a lot, chose a color, and drove home in 2 tons of American steel. No credit checks digging into your childhood, no co-signers, and definitely no 84-month payment plans that outlast the car's transmission. You weren't buying a starter car, you were buying a tank with a living room inside. There were no microchips hidden in the door panels waiting to glitch, and no proprietary software preventing you from rolling down the window unless you paid a monthly subscription fee. You were paying for raw materials, chrome, heavy-gauge steel, and glass. The transaction was remarkably quiet. You didn't spend 4 hours in a glass-walled office being interrogated about your debt-to-income ratio. The sticker price was the price. There were no market adjustments adding $5,000 because the dealership felt like it, and no one was trying to sell you a ceramic coating made of moon dust. You handed over the cash, they handed over a heavy metal key, and the car was yours, completely, from the bumper to the tailfin. It's ironic, really. Today we pay $40,000 for a vehicle that's 50% recycled milk jugs and sensors that panic if a leaf touches the bumper. In 1950, your car was built to survive a minor collision with a brick wall, usually leaving the wall in worse shape. It was a one-time purchase that didn't haunt your bank account for the next decade. Gas price, 27 cents. Feeding that V8 engine was cheaper than buying a cup of coffee is today. You'd pull into a gas station, not a convenience hub that sells sushi and lottery tickets, but a place that actually fixed things. Before your tires even stopped rolling, a bell would ding, and 2 or 3 men in crisp uniforms would jog toward you. They weren't there to ask if you had a loyalty card or to force you to watch a commercial on a screen attached to the pump. They were there to serve. For less than $5, you could fill a massive 20-gallon tank and still have enough change for a soda. But that 27 cents bought you more than just fuel. While the gas was flowing, one man was scrubbing your windshield until it sparked. Another was checking your oil level. A third might be checking your tire pressure just because he noticed they looked soft. This wasn't a premium package, it was the standard. In 1950, fuel wasn't a source of middle-class anxiety. The idea of choosing between a road trip and paying the electric bill didn't exist. You didn't check an app to find the station that was 2 cents cheaper across town. You just drove. The open road was actually open because the barrier to entry was a handful of pocket change. It makes you wonder when exactly we agreed to pay $5 a gallon to stand in the rain and pump our own gas while a screen screams at us to buy a car wash we don't need. In 1950, the car was a tool of liberation. Today, with the prices and the service, it feels more like a mobile tax collection office. But even with cheap gas and a low price tag, these cars had a secret. They didn't have 5-year warranties because they didn't need them. The relationship between a man and his machine was about to get a lot more personal. Repairs, do it yourself. In 1950, opening the hood of your car didn't void a warranty or require a computer science degree. It was an invitation. There were no plastic engine covers hiding the machinery and no proprietary bolts designed to keep you out. You could see the pavement through the engine bay, and every component, from the spark plugs to the fan belt, was accessible with a basic set of wrenches. If the engine made a strange noise, you didn't call a flatbed truck to haul it to a dealership for a $300 diagnostic fee. You spent a Sunday afternoon in the driveway, fixed it yourself, and wiped the grease off your hands in time for dinner. The machine was yours in every sense of the word. It was a collection of mechanical parts that made sense. You didn't need a high-speed internet connection to update the car's firmware just to get the heater to work. Maintenance was a ritual of independence. You changed your own oil, adjusted your own brakes, and tuned the carburetor by ear. The manufacturers actually expected you to be competent. The owner's manual didn't just tell you how to operate the radio, it gave you instructions on how to adjust the valve lash. It's a sharp contrast to the modern experience, where your car is essentially a locked smartphone on wheels that refuses to start because a sensor in the bumper detected a ghost. Today, we've traded that autonomy for convenience, which is usually just a polite word for expensive helplessness. We drive vehicles that are designed to be replaced, not repaired. In 1950, a car was an investment in longevity. If a part broke, you replaced the part, not the entire assembly. You didn't have to mortgage your house because a headlight went out and required a $2,000 LED module replacement. It's funny, in a dark sort of way, that we now pay for service plans to protect us from the very technology we were told would make our lives easier. Back then, your protection was a toolbox and a little bit of grease. Annual salary, $3,300. This is where the math of the American dream actually starts to make sense. In 1950, the average family brought home about $3,300 a year. On the surface, that sounds tiny, but when you place it next to that $1,500 car, the reality is staggering. A brand new, top-of-the-line vehicle costs less than 6 months of an average salary. You could work for half a year and own your transportation outright, with no debt and no interest payments sucking the life out of your future. You weren't working for the bank, you were working for yourself. Compare that to the modern middle-class trap. Today, the average new car price has climbed toward $50,000, while the median individual income struggles to keep pace. We've moved from a world where you could buy a car with a few months of labor to one where people are signing 6-year contracts just to afford the monthly subscription to a depreciating asset. In 1950, a single income could buy the house, fill the fridge, and park a shining new Buick in the driveway. The car wasn't a burden, it was the trophy of a life well lived. It's easy to look back and say things were just simpler, but the truth is they were more honest. The dollar had weight, the steel was real, and the service was included. We haven't just lost the cheap gas and the chrome bumpers, we've lost the ability to own our time. We spend our lives working to pay for the machines that take us to work. In 1950, the car served the man. Today, looking at the debt and the complexity, it's becoming very clear who is serving whom. But at least our modern cars can tell us the weather while we sit in traffic, wondering where all the money went. Class dismissed. Subscribe to the Banana Academy.